is December 13th, Monday at 6:30 PM, and this is the regular meeting of the East Bay Charter Township Board of Trustees, and we'll call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and we'll do roll call attendance.
Wow, what a crowd.
I know, we do have a
Walters.
few
Lyle.
Here.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Friend.
here. And then we do have both Cortades and Matt Cook, who previously called to let us know they wouldn't be here.
Okay.
So with that, we'll take a look at the agenda, and we have a brief agenda. It's my Christmas gift to you guys tonight. We have several things on the consent agenda, and Ann will go over that, but we have the parental leave policy before the board, and I would like to add the buildings and groundskeeping. We're going to be having a planned short-term disability with that position, and so I did want to talk to you about a couple things regarding that with respect to how we're replacing the work and then how we're covering the work time-wise. So with that, I'd like to ask that that be added to number 2 under the business before the township board. And with that, is there anything on the agenda anyone would like changed, or a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the building and grounds issue.
Short-term
that,
disability, okay, sounds good. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Bartlett and seconded by Walters. Further discussion? And all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by no? Motion passes. And with that, we'll ask if anyone has a conflict of interest. Seeing no conflict of interest, we will have the first opportunity for public comment. We do have 2 opportunities for public comment. If anyone would like to make a public comment, they're welcome to stand up at the podium and say hello. And I know we have limited people who are here tonight, and we appreciate you being here. Daryl, why don't you just use public comment time and come up and tell us how are things going?
I just want to say Daryl Nelson, County Commissioner, we could almost outnumber you here in the crowd. So, first of all, I want to say, really the only reason I came tonight was to say Merry Christmas to everybody. But, so I won't give a real formal report, but thanks for a good year, and hopefully next year will be a little less unusual.
Maybe a little further removed from COVID? Is that possible?
That's kind of what I'm hoping is unusual means.
Yeah. Could I, let me take this opportunity, if it's okay, because I did attend the Board of Commissioners meeting when you first had the ARPA funds. Not so much a discussion of how you were going to use them, but how you were going to approach deciding to use them. And, I'm guilty as charged. I haven't followed with the agendas to see the results of that. I did see on one meeting that you guys did engage a consultant. So I just was wondering the status of that.
I can give you the update. We've engaged a company called PSC, Private Sector Consultants, public sector consultants. They're highly regarded, been around for a long time. And came highly recommended. They're doing this in a lot of counties. And right now, administration is meeting with them twice monthly. The first part of what we're doing, and to back up, they're telling us that be certain that a lot of things are going to change. The ones that get out in front too quick are going to have to back up. So they're telling us we're right where we want to be time-wise. And the first part is kind of gathering assets, looking at it, and then we are going to have an engagement process. We're never going to show up. It's not going to happen. We're going to show up here and say, well, time's up. No one said anything, so we're going ahead. We are going to be publicly announcing for engagement from the public, from boards like yourself. We're looking for that kind of input. The possibility, you and I have talked many times about possibility of coordinating activities. I was down at Union Township here couple last week, and their total in is like 48,000. So there's not a lot they can do with that, but we can work with them. So, but it's all relative to your size. So, more to come on that.
Okay, great.
You're really not missing out on anything at this point. We're getting our ducks in a row. And first part of the year, I think you're going to start hearing what's going on.
Sounds perfect.
Good.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Okay, thanks for stopping. Absolutely, thanks for stopping out.
Thank you, Daryl.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, with that, we will move on to correspondence and reports, and you do have some reports in your packet. October, November treasurer's reports, and then we'll move on to the consent calendar, and I'll have Ann go ahead and go over the consent calendar.
Sure, the purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent agenda be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent agenda, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. This evening, you have the minutes of November 8th, 2021, regular meeting, the minutes of the November 30th, 2021, special meeting. From the general fund, check numbers 16663 through 16744, with check numbers 16597 voided in the amount of $78,617.93. From the emergency fund, check numbers 4816 through 4850, the amount of $66,780.67. From the receiving fund, check numbers 2838 through 2841, the amount of $109,626.37. From the escrow fund, check numbers 1779 through 1793, the amount of $141,460.69. 3 payrolls. The first one, October 24th through November 6th, check number 7271 through 7273, total $49,991.30. From November 7th through November 20th, that payroll was number 7274 through 7278, and total $48,834.85. And the payroll from November 21st, 2021 through December 4th, 2021, check numbers 7279 through 7280, total $51,728.52. Total payroll cost, $150,554.67, and total amount paid, $547,040.33. Proposed budget adjustments, you have a budget adjustment numbered CC 2021.05,
Right.
and other items.
We have 2 others added
Oh,
that were
2 added.
before the board, which is Budget Amendment 2021-15 and -16.
Okay.
And I did just put those on your desk tonight, so if you'd like, we can pull them off and go over them in detail, or if
Oh,
you're
Yes, here they are. Okay.
comfortable looking at them.
Got it.
Okay, go ahead.
And you have a few other items, a resolution establishing 2022 meeting dates and times, the TC Airport Authority Zoning Board appointment, Coyote Lane water and sewer turnover, and updated policies and procedures regarding leave donation clarification and a request for absence form.
Okay, thank you very much. Would anybody like anything taken off the consent
I
calendar?
don't want anything taken off. I just want a clarification on the leave donation classification. That's only changed it from 8 hours to 10 hours? Okay.
Yeah. I
That's
think
what
we
I
just
thought.
overlooked that when we did it the first time, because we were on 8-hour days at that time, and I just didn't even think about it, and we were at 10-hour days, and, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, is there, let's see, would anybody in the public like anything removed from the consent calendar? Okay, and with that, we'll bring it back to the board and see if there's a motion regarding the consent calendar.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Or,
Okay, motion by Bartlett and support by Lyle. Further discussion, and with that, we'll do roll call vote. Ann?
Sure, Bartlett,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. And with that, we'll come to the first topic that's in your packet, and that is parental leave. You'll see I did put an updated cover sheet and resolution, and I can go over what the update is. And the update was, I neglected to leave out that typically you will see a difference between 6 to 8 weeks depending on the type of delivery that a mom had. And so I have adjusted that from 6 weeks to 8 weeks for cesarean section. And then I just made that consistent in the resolution at the bottom where I included in number 2, the resolved. I put at the very end there, such leave will be extended by 2 weeks for a cesarean delivery. And then I took the reference to the 6 weeks out of B, so it just references the leave in general, whether that's 6 or 8 weeks. I did not put a policy in front of you because I know that there's a lot of implications in that, and when you start to research these, there's a whole lot of different policies and different parts of a policy, and I thought on such a short period of time, I didn't want to put that pressure in here. We're bringing this to you now as opposed to earlier because we really thought that we could utilize the short-term disability in a way, and we had conflicting answers from the company that holds the policy, and so it took a little while to get their final answer, which is you can't really combine the short-term disability with time off and so forth. So that's why this is before you tonight, and I thought we could pass a resolution with this in mind, and then I could bring back verbiage on a policy. So with that, let me see. I do want to say,
Resolution number is?
yeah, I just was looking, we just passed a resolution under 8A. That'll be Resolution 38. And there's no other resolutions there, so this would be Resolution 39. And I know, I don't know the board's willingness to do the parental leave. It's paid parental leave. So I wanted to get some feedback from you guys and see about the resolution.
Okay, number 1, they got short-term, everybody working here has got short-term disability. And so why have we got something where we're going to pay?
Sure. And that's really why this is coming to you later, is that was the intent, was to use the short-term disability. The way that I have heard of and experienced short-term disability and the way we intended to do it was, between the time that you are out and your short-term disability kicks in, it's usually about 7 or 8 days. And that time can be sick time or vacation utilized. And then your short-term disability kicks in. It's at 60% of your wages, your salary.
That's your gross wages, not your take-home wages, correct?
So it might end up being a slight percentage or over. I'm not sure, Glenn, but it's at 60% is what they had on the form that they write the check for. So at any rate, the experience that I've understood with it and had was that you could augment that 60% with 40% to make your salary whole, with the other 40% being vacation time or sick time, that you could augment it with that. That's how we intended to use that. And then, again, as I mentioned, we had some differing opinions from the company itself, and they ended up saying, nope, you can't do it that way. It's a maximum 60%, and if we were to pay anything in addition and any type of employee benefits, then it would reduce that 60%. And so it leaves the employee at a less time.
Okay, so if I'm understanding
Less
what you're
income.
saying, now you talked to our carrier, correct? And so after 7 or 8 days, the short-term disability kicks in. So we can't make up the difference, and if we do, they lose the short-term.
Yep. Like I said, I haven't experienced it that way myself, but it wasn't me here at East Bay Township. It was somebody else at a different company and so forth. But I had hoped that that's the way that it works, so we could take advantage of having, I mean, we pay for the short-term disability, so we should use it. But unfortunately, it leaves our employees at a disadvantage for parental leave, which is, I think, reasonable not to expect.
But if it's paid at 60% of the gross wages before taxes, that puts them down to about what they take home.
I don't think so.
Pretty close.
I don't think so.
Okay. Anyhow, that's my understanding. Munson, I know my daughter worked there when my granddaughter was born. They use their vacation, they use their sick time, then short-term disability kicks in, and they got 60%.
Yep.
And I'm assuming it's the same way today.
At Munson, I don't know.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
either. but
you
I
would
mean,
think
that's
so.
when she worked
Sure,
there.
sure.
This, and not to get confused, but if this is what the board decides they want to do, is pay an employee when they're off, I think before we do one, we need to look at the whole thing. I don't care if you're maintenance, I don't care if you're the receptionist, I don't care if you had a heart attack, a stroke, COVID. If you're off, if we're going to go down this road, I think it's only fair to cover everybody.
Well, I certainly thought that the short-term disability policy was handled differently, and I think it is in some companies, but this is the final word that I have from that company, so I have to abide by that. I will definitely be looking to see if we can make any differences in the company that we purchase short-term disability from. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, if we're going to do it for one, we need to do it, cover everybody.
Wait,
And I guess what I would like to see is, I would like to see this and the maintenance one tabled until we come back with what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Because personally, I think if they got vacation time and sick time, they need to use that before we kick in. That's what
I agree.
sick time is.
I agree. That, I don't think it's fair that, you've got 9 months to plan, right? It's not a quick adoption, right, on this particular natural birth, if you will. And so when, my story, right, when I was pregnant, I had 60% short-term. I had 2 weeks of vacation time. That's what my maternity leave was. My 6 weeks, I had to balance on that. I didn't have any ability to get from anybody else. I had Aflac that I paid into, so I had two short-term disabilities paying. No, I just had Aflac, so my short-term disability was through Aflac. So I feel that if we're going to not use our short-term disability, and we are going to pay 100%, that we need to use up the vacation time that's available, that, and I don't know how I make that even, and I also am concerned that we don't have anything about how long a person has been with the company before they're eligible for this, how many hours they work a year to be eligible for this, those kind of things that, you know, because this is, we're talking very generally, but very specifically at the same time, and I'm concerned about the general in the future.
So, one, we will be using the vacation on the front end before that any amount kicks in that was already planned, and planning on doing that. And as far as the specifics that you mentioned, I would agree with you, but those would be in the policy. And since I didn't want to get bogged down in the policy and wanted to be able to get this completed, given that we were later than what we wanted to because of getting those answers from our benefits personnel, I didn't want to leave the employee not knowing. So that was not their fault.
That's why I'm saying this is a specific, but it's really very general. And I understand that, but on the flip side, I don't want to set a precedent that can come back and get us in later on. That's where my concern is that once if we set a precedence, that's going to be what is expected. And that's why I'm concerned.
I'm also okay with setting a precedence on parental leave. Parental leave is something that's been on the forefront across the country for some time, even so much that now it's not even called maternity leave, it's called parental leave. So, I think that supporting employees that are conducting their lives, having a family is important, as many companies have. I did look towards other policies initially from other townships. Unfortunately, townships tend to have an older population working for them. And I did look to what we did previously, because the township has experienced maternity leave before, and that employee had no diminished pay during that maternity leave.
Okay, but the story behind that is, that was Becky, right?
So, yeah, it was my deputy.
That was a deputy. Deputy gets paid whether they're here or not. So to say that we did it before, no. If she was pregnant, she had a child, and she was a deputy, so she gets paid regardless, just like you do or the treasurer does. So you can't classify that. I mean, that.
Again, that ties right into, though, what I think is, myself personally, is an employer being supportive of an employee on a parental leave. Like I said, a lot of maternity, they offer that now for mothers and for fathers in many, many companies.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would agree we need a policy to cover, but at this point, we have an employee we need to deal with immediately.
Right now.
So that's why, I'm okay with the resolution and then coming back with policy that we need to go forward with, because the township hasn't put a policy in place for that employee to be able to plan ahead, like you talked about. So,
But we've had 9 months to
We
come across with this.
We sure
Rather
have.
than waiting
And
till the 12th
Yeah,
hour.
we've also had 15 years to come up with a policy, and we haven't. I've
The
explained to,
Previous never
Look-
looked at it to have a policy. This is something new that's been brought up, and it's my understanding, there isn't a township around here that's got a policy.
well, and that's what I just mentioned to you. And again, that's what the delay is I was checking with other area policies to see if we were consistent with other townships, as I have with a lot of salaries. And again, not getting answers quickly or consistently did not help. And so that put us at this later hour. So at this point for this situation, and I agree with Tracy, I agree with you that we should come back with a policy. But at this point in this situation, while not all situations are perfect, I would move to approve Resolution 2021-39, and then come back with a follow-up policy. And if it's the direction of the board to take a look at that short-term disability and see if that should apply to a broader range, I'm happy to do that as well.
I would support that.
Okay, motion by Friend, support by Bartlett. Is there further discussion?
Where in this does it say that the vacation and sick time, if they are different, is used first?
So,
It says time period adjacent.
Did something change since we, looking at this here? Because I thought I read what was sent, that their sick time and vacation time was not going to be used. They could use that later if they need it.
no, what was changed was, it has it on the front here, that it was amended to include an 8-week because of cesarean delivery, which is pretty standard or typical. That's, again, what short-term disability deciphers as well. And you're right, that it doesn't explicitly say that, but we can
It says the
definitely,
opposite. It says they can use it in
to-
addition.
adjacent to it, yeah.
Yeah.
So if they were to have, say, a 6-week maternity leave,
They could use it before or after.
they could use it, well, before, what we were doing is putting a weekend beforehand, and then starting the leave, and then, so for example, if you had 6 weeks leave and you wanted to have, let's say, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, the last 2 weeks or 4 weeks, you'd use vacation. And we can put that as well, that sick time is used prior to the start of the parental leave as well.
So then can we reduce the parental leave amount so that the total is 6 weeks or 8 weeks if it's a cesarean?
Well, I think that's their sick time too. And remember, you don't want to leave somebody with using that 6 to 8 weeks and then not having any sick time when they come back.
When is personal time awarded at the township?
The beginning of the year.
So they can carry it over, right?
Not sick time,
Just vacation
just
time.
vacation.
And how much vacation does individuals get now?
It depends on the individual.
How long they've
3
been here.
weeks.
Yeah.
Huh?
Depends on how long they've been here. There's
And what
a
they
They
started
table.
start out at what, 2
3
weeks?
2 weeks, but this, I think this individual's at 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
So-
would hate to leave anyone with nothing for the rest of the year.
Especially
I
with a
mean,
newborn.
Well.
Or so
this
even
day
with
and
COVID,
time.
because of daycare
Yeah.
is difficult with COVID right now.
Well, and even taking care of family members, period, with COVID is difficult right now.
Yeah, but I will tell you, regardless of this resolution, the intent was the first week will be vacation time, and then any leave time or short-term disability would kick in for that 6 weeks or 8 weeks because cesarean. And then if there is any additional time, I think it's planned at 2 weeks, it would be right after that. Does that make sense? Did you follow that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
a person can get 9 weeks right now or 11 weeks.
Depending on how much vacation they have. Any,
Assuming 3.
if they took everything that they had with their parental leave, they could have 8 weeks up to, well, actually 7 weeks, up to 11 weeks. I think that's right, 7 to 11 weeks. So what's planned, what we have planned right now is a week leave, then a 6-week leave absence, and then 2 weeks of vacation.
I think that's above and beyond what our constituents get. And that's my concern.
And it's way below what, while townships don't have a policy, there have been maternity and parental leave with employees, and it's so far below what that is, and what's offered by some of the consulting firms out there as well.
Right, and as I understand the Family Medical Leave Act, it has to do with the size of the employer. And I don't know how it works in government.
So we don't have to cover the Family Medical Leave Act. I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, but my recollection is while we're not covered under it, we do honor it. So there isn't any leave with Family Medical Leave Act. It is unpaid leave. And one of the things I made sure to do that I'd seen consistently in other policies is that any Family Medical Leave Act would coincide with this leave. So it's not like someone could take 6 weeks paid off and then come back and take 12 unpaid weeks off for a longer absence. This shortens it to the maximum is that Family Medical Leave Act, which is legally required in some organizations.
Well, and I've had to deal with this in a different entity that I am on a board. And when we researched it, the normal leave is 12 weeks now, regardless. So I think if we're sticking to 6 weeks, that's half of what normal leave is anymore. And some family leave act, it can be paid or unpaid. So I guess we look at that. Because we have always, I mean, at the township, since the Family Leave Act has come into place, we've always, at least my recollection, is that we've always tried to follow that, even though we're not mandated to.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to admit if this doesn't fit exactly what the board wants to see in every scenario, I understand that. However, I do want to make sure that we have something in place for this current situation, and then would like to seek to work that into a policy that fits what the board would like to see.
Is there a way that we can make this temporary or put a
Sure.
expiration date on it if that policy doesn't?
But for this particular employee,
No, so then
Okay,
make sure
'cause-
that we have a policy in place
Yes.
if there's another
Sure.
instance that comes up.
yeah, I would agree
We
to
could
that.
put a number 3, that resolved by the Board of Trustees of East Bay Charter Township that if a policy is not in effect within 1 year of this, or whatever term you choose, within 1 year of the effective date of this resolution, then this resolution will be null and void. And I would amend my motion to approve Resolution 21 dash, why am I having trouble with the year this year, or tonight? 2021-39, with the addition of the resolved clause number 3, that a policy be enacted in place within 1 year of this resolution, or the resolution is null and void. Would you amend your
Yes, I'll amend my
support?
support.
All right, so motion is just a friendly amendment for the support of Resolution 39 with that additional term. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Mindy.
Did you change 2B?
2B, vacation and personal time off may be used in a time period adjacent to the parental leave. I didn't. How would you consider
did.
wording that?
Because you were going to put prior to, and then.
Okay.
And then you
Vacation.
changed your mind, so I wasn't sure what it was at.
Vacation, and I wasn't sure if we were quite getting to where we wanted it, so vacation and paid personal time may be used in a period adjacent to the parental leave with 1 week required usage before the start of the benefit. With 1 week required usage before the start of the benefit. So let me recap this and ask for amended support, Tracy. See if, motion to approve Resolution 2021-39 with resolved Clause 2B to include at the end, with 1 week required usage of vacation or paid personal time off before the start of the benefit. And then adding number 3, that a policy will be enacted within 1 year of this resolution, or the resolution is null and void. Are you okay with that, Ann?
Got it.
Okay, are you okay with that,
Yeah.
Tracy? Okay. That motion's been made with the resolution amended. Any further questions or clarifications?
Well, I'm just going to be right up front and tell you, I could not vote for this.
Okay.
For the simple fact that we're picking winners and losers. What we're saying is if a woman has a baby, we buy the insurance, we buy the short term, but we're not going to use it. We're going to take taxpayers' money and pay them their full wages. And are we going to do it with the rest of the employees? So there's no way I would pass this until we sit down and draft something up that covers everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's fine.
I understand, and that's fine, I just
Yeah, I just
fully
wanted
support.
everybody to be aware of what my
Yeah.
reason was, not that I don't
Absolutely.
think
And I think we want to be a good employer to everybody, but, in particular, I feel very strongly that we should support families, definitely. But, yeah, go ahead, Mindy.
So did you look at the short-term disability and the fact that potentially we use the short-term disability and give staff a bonus and not call it wages?
If I can figure out a way to do that, you gosh darn better believe that I will do that. But to date, I have not been able to.
To make up
But I have to,
40%, because I really am struggling with the fact that
I get it, especially since I've seen how it's used correctly, and I don't think that this is correct. I mean, the application of the short-term disability, I disagree with it, but I can't, it's the policy, it's the company that has the policy that gave the final opinion. I can still try to go back and fight that, and I will, and have.
have we gotten Peter on board with this one?
I haven't talked with Peter on that one. I've just dealt with the benefits person. So with that, Ann will do a roll call vote.
Friend? Friend? You moved.
Your
Yeah.
friend.
Oh, I thought you said Glenn.
No, friend.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Walters?
No.
Lyle?
No,
Motion dies.
Okay, we will move on to buildings and grounds. So with this, I just wanted to let the board know, actually, I think we have most of this taken care of. We have a planned short-term disability with buildings and groundskeeper, and we do have the work largely covered, we believe. So our temporary summer person will be helping with half of the work, which is the bathrooms and the trash and the parks, over this time. Just talked with him today, super appreciative of him being willing to come back and help with that. And then we are contracting for the snow removal. And we have yet to get bids on that, but we will get bids and get the person who can most reliably do the snow with that. With this, I wanted to seek and ask the board, Bob has some vacation built up so that he's able to take from tomorrow through the rest of the year off. And I would like for him to be able to, and he's willing to be able to work those weeks and roll that over. I know that we only allow 40 hours a week rolled over typically, except we did during COVID. I think we upped it to 80 for that 1 year, which made a lot of sense. But I would like to be able to do that with Bob for buildings and grounds, so that it helps next year when he doesn't need the vacation this year. And he is planning on that time off right now. So I guess it would just be a motion to allow the exception for the 2021 rollover into 2022 for an additional 2 weeks of vacation in that instance.
Are we doing it just for him, or are we doing it for everybody?
Nope, I would just be doing this for him. He's the only one with a planned disability next year with regarding this.
Okay,
And now, so the other disability, if you're saying basically that vacation time wasn't there to roll over. I mean, 40 hours was, but that's it. So it wasn't an above and a beyond what's in the policy. Bob has above and beyond what's allowed by the policy available for rollover.
okay, so what you're asking is how much rollover?
80 hours.
80 hours. I'd make a motion to approve that.
Okay, motion is made. Is there support? Motion's been made and motion's been made by Lyle and supported by Walters to allow the rollover of that vacation to 80 hours for the buildings and groundskeepers from vacation in 2021 to the 2022 fiscal year. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Any by no? No.
He's going to have surgery, correct?
He is going to have
So
surgery.
when is he having?
We can't really discuss that.
Yeah.
It's HIPAA. You can't discuss his medical issues.
Yeah, well,
I wasn't discussing his issues, I was just asking when he's going to have it.
so he has some planned time off for short-term disability, yes. Okay. And with that, we come to the second public comment. If there's any public comment, you're welcome to come up to the podium and address the board. Okay, seeing none. Are there any objections? Then we stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.